Look, Nintendo, we have to have a talk before this video starts. Like, why do you do this now in your Zelda games? How come every new Zelda title you do, you have to add a character for people to thirst over? I mean, in Breath of the Wild, it was Sidon. In this one, it's fucking Ganondorf. Oh my god, Gannon Chad. Holy shit, Chadendorf. Whatever you want to call him. Holy shit. You took Demise and put Ganondorf's skin on him and just wow. Wow. Not to mention the man bun. Holy shit. But because of that, I gotta change his background now. Because it was gonna be Mum and Ganondorf, but we gotta change that now. You did this, Nintendo. You made me go into Photoshop and make that. Hey guys, welcome back to the Brandon Can Win channel. Yeah, I've never talked about Tears of the Kingdom on this channel, I don't think. I might have a long time ago and just forgot, but you know, it's a little under a month away, so let's talk about it. Let's get to the juice. I'm actually going to talk about 10 hopes I have for the game. So the video should be called 10 hopes I have for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but I feel like whatever title I choose for this video, I feel like it's probably going to be more clickbait, so sorry to clickbait you. Some spoilers up ahead just to let y'all know. Breath of the Wild, obviously, since this is the sequel, and you guys had like, what, 6 years to beat it already, so I mean, come on, step up your game. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, a lot of people didn't play that, I don't think. There are characters that I'm going to be addressing that are canon in some ways, even if in the storyline or timeline or whatever, they don't do what they did in the game. So that means those characters might still be around in some way. So we'll see. And the trailers leading up to now, mainly the last trailer and the first trailer. So yeah, let's get started. My first hope is that the game is different enough that's still worth playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for, like, just besides the story. I mean, the story is obviously going to be different. It's going to be different than Tears of the Kingdom because it's a different game. But the problem lies that the map is going to be very similar. Like they said in, I think, the live stream that they did showing the trailer, it is a very different Hyrule. But when I think of very different with Tears of the Kingdom is that there's now settlements and stuff. Because we see settlements in the new trailer and stuff. It's pretty much the same. Because the thing is I'm playing, for the first time, Master Mode. I'm playing through that. I just started in Breath of the Wild again. And so I don't want to go throughout that game being like, oh, I was just here. Oh, I can just play Breath of the Wild and I'll be here. Oh, wow, look at that. I want it to be like worthwhile that you can still play Breath of the Wild and have just as much enjoyment. Because I feel like the other Zelda sequels do that, minus Zelda 1, because Zelda 2 is trash. I recently watched a guy, The Legend of Tim, on Twitch. He beat Zelda 2 and I was there to witness it, and god, that final boss before Dark Link is bullshit. But yeah, every other Zelda sequel, Majora's Mask, Link's Awakening, you can still go back to the first game and enjoy it because it's still different. Like, it's a whole different layout, there's different things to do. So I just hope it's like that with Breath of the Wild, because that's just very... I just don't want it to be too similar map layout-wise, pretty much, is what I'm saying. And gameplay-wise, I would like it to be a little switched up, you know? I mean, obviously we're going to get that, because we don't have the Sheikah Slate, we have this weird arm now. And there's the whole building and stuff. Like, I remember when they first showed that off, people were like, oh, it's Legend of Zelda nuts and bolts. Which I thought was pretty funny, but... I kind of want the Sky Islands to give like little nods to the islands from Skyward Sword, like Skyloft. But I also hope it gives nods to City in the Sky from Twilight Princess, because I feel like not enough people talk about that dungeon. Because it's not just a dungeon, like it's explained, it's the home to those chicken people, whatever. And I feel like people just kind of glance over it or just forget about it. But I think that personally, that the City in the Sky is something that I think's worth kind of going more in depth and exploring. But like, even just like little nods, or like this was City in the Sky or something, that'd be pretty cool to see. I dig the place. It's actually my favorite dungeon in Twilight Princess, and I don't know why, because it's the last dungeon, I believe, before Hyrule Castle, and it's a pain in the ass. So I don't know. I think I'm just, like, intrigued with it. I think that's my thing. I want Master Koga back. He's not dead. There's no way he's dead. We did not kill him in that fight. He's so cartoonish that he doesn't just die like that. And the Yiga are still around after you beat them. Like, you could still run into them in Breath of the Wild. If not, I think they pop up even more. So I believe Master Koga's well and alive, but I hope we get like cutscenes with him talking, because in Age of Calamity he was fucking hilarious. He was definitely the comic relief of the game. Master Koga, he's so funny that I decided him to be one of the main people I used to fight in the game. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool if Master Koga came back and had like a bigger role and just wasn't there for like 5 minutes and then just wasn't anymore. So I think that'd be cool. Speaking of Age of Calamity, let's talk about some characters that we still need answers about. Or that I'm curious on what happened to them since the events of Age of Calamity kind of changed things a little bit. We learned from the DLC how Suga died. I think even the original, just like main game, kind of talks about Suga died. If you don't know who Suga is, if you didn't play Age of Calamity, he's pretty much Koga's right-hand man. But we get like a tiny bit of a backstory behind how Suga and Koga kind of met, and it was really cute and actually made his death very sad. But yeah, in this timeline, if things are going the way I think they are, then Suga should still be alive as well. So it would be interesting to see him in it. If Koga doesn't return, it would be interesting if Suga took his place or something. But yeah, I would not bring the Yiga back if you don't bring Koga back. Continuing on this is, I want to know what the fuck is up with Astor. If you don't know who Astor is, he was pretty much the mysterious, like, seer person. And, like, he was, like, the main antagonist besides Calamity Ganon in the game. And we still know almost literally nothing about him, and I hate that. Like, we've had characters like this before who've tried to resurrect Gannon or something. Like Girahim and Yuga. We have somewhat of an idea of who they are, their backstory. We don't have anything with Astor. What do we have with him? Besides that, he was somehow related to the Gerudo somehow. Story-wise, we don't know nothing about this dude. And since things play out a little differently in Age of Calamity, he's probably still alive. And I don't know. I at least hope we run into him in the game. Like, he'll probably be old and crusty as fuck. But it'd be interesting if he became like a character in the mainline franchise, since apparently a lot of people don't see Age of Calamity as a mainline game. I mean, to be fair, it's really not, but it's still part of the timeline, just like it's an alternate timeline or whatever. I don't know. So in the last trailer, we saw fighting alongside Sidon and what's her face from the Gerudo town. I hope we get a fight alongside them besides story reasons. Like, I hope they're summons. I mean, we're getting building, which is weird enough for Zelda, so let's throw summons in there. So, like, let's say in the story we go to Rito Village and there's Trouble Oberwin there. We run into Taba, who's one of my favorite characters. You know, my favorite characters from Breath of the Wild are Taba and Revali. So I don't know if it's because they're birds or what, but I love them both. And I play them both in Age of Calamity a lot. But it'd be cool if, like, you fight with them for story reasons, then you beat whatever's in that location, and they're like, okay, call me if you need me again. And then, like, they become kind of a summon that lasts for a while and then disappear. I don't know why I got that idea, but I just think it's really good, because fighting alongside them once just seems kind of lame to me. Given you kind of do that in Breath of the Wild to get to inside the Divine Beasts. So, yeah, fighting hand-to-hand combat, I just think it would be cool if they were like summons or something. Like, why not? Just throw that in. Speaking of Revali, I do want to see the champions again in some form. Like, even if it's just like a flashback, I do want to see my boy Revali again. I miss my boy. I know he's an asshole, but I still think he's cool. Like, I don't want them to, like, revive them, because then that makes, I don't know. I mean, while it'd be nice that Rivali's back to life, I feel like they died in such an honorable way that'd be kind of like getting rid of that, if you know what I mean. So I hope they don't revive them, but I do hope we do get a glimpse of them in the game somehow. I mean, hell, they could be summons. DLC summons. I don't know. Now, this is a big one because they did say that the game is supposed to be darker than Majora's Mask. And that's a hard feat, because Majora's Mask is my favorite game of all time. I'm not sure if I showed it off, but I have the N64 cartridge for it. And one of the things I love the most about that game is the fact that the atmosphere, not just the story, but the atmosphere is so dark and so much is at stake. Because it's weird. Breath of the Wild, it had a dark story, but I didn't feel, despite all the ruins you come across and stuff, it didn't have a dark atmosphere to me. This one, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be either. If anything, it might be a little bit more on the lighter side, kind of like Skyward Sword, speaking of going in the sky, because everything's all bright and sunny up there. I hope there's some really dark atmospheric moments, like Twilight Princess has it too, which is another reason why that one's up there as one of my favorites. But, you know, it doesn't make or break the game, because the story already seems pretty dark. It's got the dark story, I just hope it has the dark atmosphere to go along with it. I'm sure maybe close to endgame it will, but yeah. I hope I hope Ganondorf, alludes that he's fought Lynx in the past. I did not intend for that. But I hope he, alludes to fighting heroes in the past, you know. And maybe saying, no matter how many times you take me down, I'll always come back, or something like that. Because of, because of Demise's, curse thing that he does. But it would be cool if he just alludes that he's fought Link before, and that he will return someday, or something like that. The only way I'd see that he wouldn't probably think about, saying that he'd return would probably be because this might be the last Zelda game. I had a friend who was like, I think this is gonna be the last Zelda game. And I don't think it's gonna be, because it's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, but, if it is, then that's when I can see Ganondorf not being like, I will return one day. And to be fair, with Twilight Princess and with Wind Waker, he really didn't get the chance to say it, because he got stabbed in the chest or in the head. So he really didn't get a chance to really give that speech that I will return. But in Skyward Sword, Demise was like, it's a curse that's going to keep happening. It's an endless cycle. But then there's also that theory that this is the end of the cycle, and it just returns to Skyloft and all that. And Skyward Sword is technically the sequel. I don't know. That's a whole weird thing that I'm not really... That's a theory I really don't buy. I don't know why, I just don't. Speaking of Ganondorf, I hope he's hard. I mean, I hope when we fight the final boss, Ganondorf, he's difficult to defeat. Because in Breath of the Wild, Calamity Ganon was actually disappointingly easy to beat. I think I beat him on my first try, and I'm sure in Master Mode he's a bit harder, but I mean, he's still probably going to be somewhat easy. I don't know. So I just hope they actually make him a threat. Feel like a threat, not just oh, it's target practice. Gotcha. I hope they actually make him tough. I actually would love it if it was a fight just like in Twilight Princess, where it's straight up sword-to-sword combat, and then there's a moment where he's charging at you, and then you gotta press a button quick, and then you go into the mode where it's sword-to-sword clash, and you have to spam the A button to put it in your favor. I think that would be dope. Lightning, thunder, all around and stuff, craziness. I would love that. That would be an excellent boss fight, and would top... Because I said, Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game, but my favorite Zelda final boss fight is Twilight Princess's. So, hopefully it goes along that route somehow. And the last one, this is the most important one. I hope the game is good, because they've hyped it up so much. they've hyped it up, I think, more than they hyped up Breath of the Wild, which is wild to me. Like, I get that there's Breath of the Wild did amazing, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's the sequel. The way they've been promoting this, they're saying that it's supposed to be essentially their greatest game they've ever made. Those are the vibes I got from the promotion and marketing for this game. Is that this is like top tier level, best game we've made. So this game better be good, because if it's not, then yeah. I think the only way that the game can be bad, because like it plays kind of like Breath of the Wild, but it has like the new elements and stuff. The only way I can see it being a bad game is if the story ends up being kind of shit, especially near the end. Those were my hopes for Tears of the Kingdom. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What do you guys hope to see in Tears of the Kingdom? Is there anything you disagree with? Do you want to not see something that I hope for? And what do you hope for the game? Let me know down in the comments down below. And also, I'll have an update video soon. I know I haven't talked about this. I'm planning on making that my next video. So, yeah. So long and good night.